Gets open for three. Dagger!
Hello and welcome back to Well Beyond the Arc, Season 3, Episode 1. We are back. I don't quite know what number we're on, but we definitely broke the 40 mark, so we are rocking and rolling, and we are starting Season 3 with a brand new co-host. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself. Take it away, man.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. I'm so hyped right now. Okay. Well, beyond the arc. My name is David. Yes, sir. Um I'm in PA right now, so you guys want to know where I'm at. I'm at David. Sorry, I'm David and I'm in PA right now. A little bit nervous. Haven't done something like this live before, so let's go. I'm also the host of my other show. I'm more of a soccer guy, but basketball is like my second passion. So we, we're rocking it. My the name of my show, all about soccer, Mind of the Fans podcast. If you vibe with soccer, go listen to it. Yep. So let's get right into it, shall we?
Absolutely, bro. And to answer a comment from our first live comment of the show, no, we did not fire Manoli. He is busy. He's really busy. He is going to join us when he can, and that's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to have us all on here talking basketball. But for now, we're going to rock it, just us two. And we are starting. If you watched last season, you're going to remember this. We did this segment last year. We did the good, bad, and ugly.
Yep.
And a lot of the times me and Manoli would have the same picks, but sometimes we'd have completely different ones. So I'm excited to see if we're right on or if we're right off. And again, the season just started. I think we're under 2 months in, but it is officially NBA season, and there's been some crazy storylines so far. I mean,
I
this
think we're
this
like 3 weeks in, right? 3 weeks in into the
that's
NBA season.
it feels like and see, that's the thing. It feels like it's been so much. Yeah. See, there we go. there we go. I was waiting for that one. I was waiting to see if someone would notice the new background. We got
Oh my god.
a couple of Lakers fans, but I cannot say I'm a LeBron sexual. I will say I'm a Lakers fan first. When they didn't have LeBron, I was still rocking with them. But anyways, good, bad, and ugly. We're gonna start with my good. The first thing I'm gonna say is the Lakers are not on any of my lists today, so it's not a Lakers fueled episode. The first one is actually a team that isn't a rival of ours, but they might as well be, and that's the Mavs. My good is the Mavs are off to a great start. The Mavs are starting in the top four after missing the playoffs, missing the play-in, getting Kyrie. People were wondering, is Kyrie going to come back? Does that even make sense? They get a couple of key pieces, and now last I checked, they're second in the West.
That's low key impressive. Like no one's talking about it. Like it's low key amazing how they missed the playoff last year, and then all of a sudden, like no one is literally talking about how Luca is dropping like 30 points a game. Like no one is talking about it. Like it's low key impressive. I agree with that. That's
Mavs Nation. See,
crazy.
so we got some Mavs fans checking in. And see, I'm not a big Mavs hater. I can get behind them,
Yeah.
but when we play them, it's a different story. But I gotta say, my good has to be the Mavs. What about you?
Oh, for me, I think I'm 100% going with like the Rockets. I don't know. They literally just came off a win against the defending champions. So I think we're low key underestimating them. Like no one had the Rocket. Like don't get me wrong. Like we had them okay, somewhat maybe like 10th in the league, but like no one expected them to be doing the shit they are doing right now. Like literally beating the defending champions. Like come on, that's like good ass stuff they are doing over there. Like Ime Udoka has them playing good ass basketball. Fred Van Fleet, oh my god, nah.
Bro, that's the coach. Here's the thing. There's that controversy with the coach, but no one is talking. I think high key the coach change is the real reason they turned this around so fast.
Exactly, and like bringing on those vets, the vets of like Dylan Brooks, Fred Van Fleet, like they are literally taking over that team straight up, like taking them to like a top six finish. Hopefully not, but top six finish.
Man, that'd be crazy because I honestly I predicted them like right outside like 11th or 12th or even maybe 10th, but they're off to a hot start. So that's a great good. Skipping over to the bad, now we're getting to the not so good. My bad
Yeah,
is the Memphis Grizzlies, bro. I mean, like here's the thing. It's unfortunate because it does make sense. They've got some key pieces. I believe Steven Adams is out. Is
he's
he
out.
is
Yeah, the whole
he's
season.
out,
Yeah,
Jaw's out because of suspension. but we've seen the Memphis Grizzlies elevate their game even without Ja before, and now we're seeing the exact opposite. And they arguably have a better roster than when they last were without Ja. In my opinion, even without Adams, they have a better roster than when they didn't have Ja now than they did before. So it doesn't make sense that they're off to this slow start. It's confusing. They've dropped some games that you scratch your head at, and there was one game where it was an unfair. It was the reffing has not been on their side. There's one game we can look to, but that's not all their losses. They are last in the West right now. What are I mean? They're last, and they're comfortably in the last. So that's my bad. What about you?
I have to agree with that. No, when since first time and then they lost like their first three games, I was like, okay, something is right here. But then you look at the team and you're like, they have Marcus Smart, like they literally have Marcus Smart. Like how are they
Yeah.
losing so? I mean, Ja is big, but like they still have a team. Like this guy Desmond Bain is dropping 30 points a game, and they are still losing badly. Like what's going on? I think it got to the point that it became that bad that this guy was ejected. Jaren Jackson, Jaren Jackson, reigning defensive player of the year, he got ejected, and that's how bad it looks like in that organization right now. Like the coach is literally going off a rant in his press conference. Like I was like, nah. So I have to agree with that. That's like a really bad thing for like the Memphis Grizzlies right now. So I'll agree with that. Yeah,
It's unfortunate to see because I honestly thought they were going to be a team that'd be in the Mavs place. I didn't think the Mavs would be losing as many games as the Grizzlies, but I thought the Grizzlies would be in a second or third spot right now, not in the 15th spot, which is just head scratching. And again, they I think they deepened their roster this offseason because of
yeah,
Ja's suspension. They got Marcus Smart to fill that position because Ja's going to be out. They've tried to add depth. They got Derrick Rose. I know he's aging, but it's still Derrick Rose coming. I mean,
yeah.
it's head scratching that they're losing like they are. And I will say, I don't think they're going to stay in the last spot. I do think they'll at least be a playing team when it's all said and done. Ja's only missing, I think, is it like 33, 34
20,
games?
25 games.
So,
25
so
games.
it's like he's going to come back a little under halfway, for the season. So there's plenty of time. Okay, Bucks Clippers finals. We got to address. There's no way. There's no way. You know what? Let's get into it. My ugly is James Harden and the Clips, an 0-4 start with James Harden, and he dropped like 12 points in like 30 plus minutes last night. Like when you look at the stat line, it makes sense that they're losing. It's not like they're going off and they're losing. It's not a lack of defense. It's just a lack of chemistry. It's a lack of that team is not going to work. One of those players is going to be gone by the deadline. My prediction is it's Westbrook. I do believe they'll try to keep Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden and make that work. But I think they'll try to figure something out because this is not going to work. That's my ugly, and we might share that. I don't know.
I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. And to your point about Westbrook, one of them has to sit on the bench. I don't know which of them. And in my opinion, it shouldn't be Westbrook. It should be Harden. Harden needs to sit
Agreed.
on the bench. Like, I mean, the work Westbrook does, he might not score you like the 20 points, 30 points a game, but like the defensive work and the hustle he puts in on the court, no, he doesn't deserve to sit on the bench. Like, he's the reason the Clippers went that far they did last season and even beginning of this season. Like, he's the reason, like, because you can't count on Paul George and Kawhi. Like, don't get me wrong, they are world class players, but you cannot count on them. So Westbrook in that lineup needs to stay. Harden needs to drop to the bench. I don't know his pride, his ego. I don't know whichever one needs to whatever he needs to change, but he needs to sit down on that bench and lead the second unit or do something. But I think at first I think that trade was a mistake. When it happened, I was like, nah, Harden to Clippers. Nah, I was like, what's the point? Like, why PG? Nah,
It didn't make sense. It was a really honestly what it to me, I understood why the 76ers did it. They were desperate to get Harden out of there. And why did the Clippers do this?
yeah,
Why did the
exactly.
Clippers trade? Because I wouldn't say their depth, but what little depth they gave up too much for too little in return. And this is James Harden's fourth team in like 22 months or something like that.
Yeah, since like we're talking about like the bubble. The bubble was 2020. James Harden was still with the Rockets.
I saw his last game with the Rockets. I saw his last game against the Lake. His last game he played on the Rockets was
Yeah,
versus the Lakers in Houston, and I saw that game, and that was so many years like that. I'm like, it was so many, but it also wasn't. Like, he's switched teams since then so many times, and it's been super unsuccessful. I thought the 76ers was his most successful stint that he's had. Honestly, I don't know
Exactly.
why I didn't get that. I didn't get that whole situation, to be honest with you.
I guess like the whole, because when you hear all the stuff and the news coming out, it's like Del Murray, apparently Del Murray is his guy, but apparently Del Murray lied to him, so he's like, nah. But then the way he went about it was just really nasty. Like,
And he's done this before. We've seen this. It's a pattern. We've seen
yeah,
exits that have been not great. But like, if this was the first one, it'd be like, yeah, Daryl Morey, I would get behind that. I believe, but I will say, I also believe, I do, owners and people up there, they're definitely screwing people out of stuff. So I am not denying that that's a real, I'm sure there's some levels to truth on both sides here. But for me, the Clippers gave up too much for too little. And I like your point. That's why I'm like, someone needs to go to the bench. But those egos, and also the stat lines and the MVPs to back those egos up, they can walk the walk and talk that they can do both. So it's really hard to say who's going to do what. That's why I think someone's going to get shipped out and traded. But it's like, I don't think anyone's going to want to trade for Westbrook or Harden. So it's like, are they even going to get their trade value? Each trade that those players have had over the last few years, their value just keeps going down because they don't have anything. They're not winning MVPs anymore. They're not making all-star team. I mean, it isn't the same as when they were those, all-star level players.
yeah.
They're
And
still they're still high tier level. They're above like a role player, but they're not what they were doing when they were winning MVPs.
definitely. And when you look at all four of them, where Harden has the least trade what's what I'm looking for? Trade value. Like, out because we have seen his reputation. He goes 1 year, he feels bad, and then he's off. Next team he goes 1 year, he's out. 1 year he's out. Like, pretty much you can see like the trend going on. So out of all of them, Harden is the least is the one with the least trade value. But then you have the rest. Kawhi, injury. Can he play 65 games out of 82 games? Can he? Paul George, maybe out of all of them, Westbrook is the, like, when it comes to like health wise, Westbrook is the one. But then Paul George, second most. So you look at them and you're like, okay, Westbrook has the more trade value, right? And then Paul George, and then Kawhi, then Harden. So if you are trading one of them, who are you trading? And as I say, I totally agree with you. Harden, you might not get much, but just the fact that he's out of your organization, I think that's a big plus for you. Like, big plus. Like, I don't know.
It was Paul George. Interesting. Paul George has more trade value than any of them. I mean, my biggest thing with Paul George is he's definitely not the same player. Let's look back at his injury in that Olympics. It
Yeah,
was not an Olympics game, but it was like a scrimmage or
exhibition.
something. He had that
Yeah,
really he lost a lot of his explosiveness. He made up for that with his amazing, like, he's a clutch shooter. He can shoot extremely well when it's time. Does he have his moments? Of every player does, but he's a really good player from deep, and he's pretty consistent. And that game elevated since he wasn't able to do the same physical things he was before. But to me, Kawhi still has the most trade value out of all those players, even though he's had the injuries, he's had the stuff. What he did for Toronto in one season, that wasn't all that long ago. Yes, that was coming up on 4 or 5, but that's still, I still think he has none of them. None of them. We don't want any of them.
Paul
I
George.
don't
I
agree with
won't
you. I
like Paul
don't agree.
George though. I won't like Paul George.
You,
I'll take
okay.
PG. I'll take
Okay,
PG.
yeah, yeah. Okay, you know what? Yeah, I can agree with that. If there's one Paul George, I would say yeah. Even though I would still say, I don't know, that's tough. Between Paul George, it's no question I would not take Harden or Westbrook. But between Kawhi and Paul George, that is really hard. That's a tough call. I would for our team, I would take Paul George, but I would still say Kawhi for me has a little more pull overall. But for our team, we would need Paul George would help us exponentially, even if he's not on the floor every night.
Yeah,
So I can
yeah,
agree with that. But moving into there's some good and bad surprises. Moving away from the good, bad, and ugly, there's plenty other things we can talk about. So let's go over some of our other good surprises so far. We are actually going into that next. We are talking about the midseason tournament next after we go into a couple of surprise. You know what? Let's talk about that now. We can go into the surprises next.
yeah.
Midseason tournament. I'll say my opinion. I like it, but for me, I wish it was a little bit later in the season. And I also, what I really like is the incentive for the players and the coaches is nice. It is for the winning team
100%.
gets
Yeah.
paid. It's like they're not just saying, "Oh, you get a trophy." Like they're getting paid. So I like that. For the fans, it gives some teams that won't make the playoffs or won't make it that far a chance to compete for a championship of some sort. So I also like that aspect. I don't like how early it is, and I also I kind of wish there was more of a soft launch of it. I feel like they're just kind of throwing it at us, and they've talked about it, but I just kind of wish there was more before to like prepare us for it because it is different. There's the group stages, some games count, some it's just it's really different, and I kind of wish they soft launched it or it was a little bit later in the season. But my personal opinion is I like it. I think it's going to add a little bit of excitement. And a lot of other sports have adapted and adopted some sort of mid-season chance, some extra championship to add excitement. So if anything, this is just the NBA evolving with other sports. But again, I kind of wish it was later in the season. And with that, I'm also kind of like, to be honest with you, I kind of wish there was more of a soft launch because again, some people were like, "What is?" Even some players don't know what's going on. There's been some people that have gone on interviews and are like, "What?" So, but what's your thought? I mean, what are you a fan or are you against it?
So when it first came out, I was like, "What? What was this shit? What's going to happen?" I had to like literally watch videos and people talk about it for like days before I actually understood what it meant. But as a soccer fan, I do know what those in mid-season tournaments do to the players. I know how much it gets because the little teams that can't compete for the big stuff, this is a chance for them to go all the way, and get something that I mean has a little value, if you get what I mean. So I think this mid-season tournament is quite good, and I think it lit a fire under the players more. I think you can see how like passionate they are, like they are literally going at it, like let's go, that type of vibe. So I kind of like it. And to your point, that the earliness, yeah, I think it's too early. Like they started it way too early. Like we're talking about 3 weeks into the season, you're literally pushing this in. I'm like, I mean, we could wait till January and let's get on with it because we know that's when like the main thing starts. Like January, let's see if the players still have like that vibe. Okay, you play this tournament, you get this. Are you still down to play it as much as you want? And I saw a comment here about like the winner getting a playoff spot. That doesn't sound bad though. But imagine like imagine a
Pull up the
team
last
like
comment. Keep. No, sorry.
I'm
Just
like yeah. Imagine a team like I don't know. What's last team in the league? Rockets now winning the tournament and then getting a playoff spot. I mean,
Okay, I like the first comment about that. Like, serious, yes, I love that. That is a great. That's a good incentive. That's an extra incentive, more than just money, especially for a team that. What if players get injured for the second half of it? What if something? I like that. And then the second one, that's. I pull that one back up one more time. Is it from smoke? It is from smoke. I
lose
just
all the business.
You know what I like the idea of though? What if we move some teams down to the G League? Swap them out.
Oh, that would be
Swap them out.
good. That would be
You only
good.
win 15 games. It's down to because what the Rockets were like, they only won like 16 to 25 games last year. So teams should not get away with only winning in an 82 or 70, even if it's only 70 games, you should not get away with only winning like 15 of those. But no, the midseason tournament, I think we're both it's good. It's a good idea, but it's kind of in your face. Looking at the Lakers, I guess I lied. I said we were going to talk Lakers. I said we weren't going to talk Lakers specifically, but I forgot about the lineup. Just one little quick. First of all, my Lakers jersey, by the way, for anyone calling me a bronze sexual, this is a Nick Young Lakers jersey. My first ever Lakers jersey was a Swaggy P. It was not a LeBron jersey. It was not an AD jersey. It was a Nick Young jersey. So I'm gonna just put that out there right now. But we're talking about the Lakers mid-season tournament. I would not really call it the mid-season, but we're talking about the early to mid-season tournament. And the Lakers are currently in their group stage. They won their first game against the Suns, which was that was the one I thought they were going to drop. If there was one
Yeah.
game I thought they were going to drop, it was that one. I am wearing the jersey of a snitch. I am. And yes, I try to forget that fact. That I keep that statistic away. But um The remaining games we have for group stage are the Grizzlies today as we record our episode, and then the
Yeah.
Trailblazers, and then the Jazz in that order. First and foremost, I love our group stage, bro. It's so easy. we should
S-
not. We should go 4-0. If we don't go 4-0 now that we've beat the Suns, something's wrong with us.
I think it hangs on two things though. I think it hangs on two things because I would try not to take any team in the NBA lightly. Try to like not underestimate them. So it hangs on two things. Today's game against the Memphis, even though they are terrible this year, I'm hoping LeBron plays. That's one. Hoping he comes back today and plays. And I hope AD doesn't just doesn't disappear mid game. Because if he does, then that's it. We're done. Like if AD can stay AD and LeBron comes back, fully rejuvenated, we can literally go 2-0 or 4-0 and win, come out of like that group straight up. Like that's what I feel like. It just hangs on those two things. LeBron being healthy and AD not disappearing mid game and only scoring like 12 points and he's done. Like I don't know.
I mean, I think LeBron should be limited. I don't think LeBron should play. I think LeBron. I mean, he's. I think he's going to be limited no matter what. Partly because of injuries, but also partly because I just think I don't know. I think it's smart to limit him, especially until the playoffs. One of the reasons I think he was so tired by the end of the playoffs, and again, even in the last game of the playoffs, he played. I mean, that was one of his best games. But I think that the season wore on him. Everything he gave to trying to get that record and I think that really wore him down by the time it was the playoffs and those injuries.
Yeah.
So I think the beginning of the season, yes, he was out for injury and he's been playing pretty big minutes, but I think you still limit him. I do think that I think that not limit him, but I think that you watch his minutes for sure,
Yeah,
especially in
definitely.
back-to-back games.
Yeah, because like he's playing like 35 minutes every game. I mean, I don't know, 39-year-old playing 35 minutes every game, pretty much playing the whole fourth quarter. I don't know. That's kind of tough for him. Like his body has already taken enough minutes. You are literally adding more minutes to him. So I think this is the point where like the rest of the group have to like get their shit together. Like, Dilo has to start making those plays we need him to make. Austin Reeves, I know he didn't start the season that well, but he looks like he's picking up. Torrin Prince has to get in there. Gabe Vincent, when he comes back, has to show what he showed for Miami. Um, Christian Wood has to come up big time on the defensive end. I mean, he has done. We've seen stints of it here and there. So he needs to come back full time. AD just needs to keep being AD, and LeBron would need to be playing 35 minutes every game. Like if they do that, like LeBron would not be playing 35 minutes every game. Like that's just what I think. But the reason why he's playing 35 minutes every game is because those guys aren't getting their shit together. So it's kind of tough.
I agree. I mean, that's how it's been on any team LeBron's been on when that's why he's been overloaded with the Cavs. I mean, it's towards the end especially. So it's tough because I think the Lakers was supposed to be his exit from a team like that where he had to carry. And I will say he doesn't statistically have to carry as much as he did towards the end on the Cavs, but his presence on the court and what he is doing is definitely that breaking. Yeah, probably. Anthony Davis probably would injure himself just standing up for the day or something like that. It's unfortunate, but he is made of glass. If you've ever listened to my Lakers show, you know I've roasted him a couple of times. But like you said, when he is Anthony Davis, it's scary. I mean, when he is healthy and durable, which is just not consistent enough, and that's been since college. He's been an injury-prone player since before he was drafted. So it's unfortunate, but we knew what we were getting when he was on the Pelicans. He was in, so we've seen it. It's like we knew what we were getting, and we had one really, really, really good season with him where he stayed consistently healthy. And I think I don't actually know if he did. I think maybe he did, especially that bubble. I think he really screwed himself up in the bubble and played through injury to win that chip. And who knows? This is conspiracy. We're not a conspiracy show, but again, I do think that there was a really like severe injury that maybe didn't get documented or properly handled, and that's what has plagued him since. So, um, rumors are here in Texas the Mavs are talking to Boogie Cousins. At this point, I don't know if I would do that. He's not been a productive enough player on the last few teams he's played for, but if he's Boogie Cousins from the Pelicans, sticking with the Pelicans, bro, that was a scary
Defensively,
Rondo. Oh my god, that team was scary. People forget about that. People forget about
defensively, I think that would be a good move for Mavs. I don't know of offense, but like in terms of defense, I think they'll
Is he still the
absolutely.
same player though? You still think he can do what he did on defense though?
I think he can. Like he's still a big man. Nothing will change that. But definitely he should be on a team. Like I'm so shocked he's not on a team. Like even if he's like a backup big man or something, I think like he should he's gained enough respect to be on a team right now. Do you get what I mean? Like it's just I don't know. Yeah. That's also what I feel about that. But before we move on from the in-season tournament, I want to know your picks from each group. What you think? Who's coming out from each group, and then the two wild card. What? Two wild? Yeah, two wild card spots from, or is it one wild card spot? I can't remember which. I think it's two wild card spots, maybe.
I think I'm gonna be honest. That's the problem with it. It's kind of I had it pulled up. I'll look for it. I think it's anyone in the comments, feel free to help us out if you know. But again, a lot of people don't. That's the problem with this. A lot of people don't really.
Okay, yeah, one wild card spot. I just looked it up. One wild card spot. Yeah. So your picks from each group, and then the wild card spot from the conference, and then we'll go from there. And then maybe your winner if you think you have that in place already.
Oh, man, that's yeah. Well, and it's quick. It doesn't last that long. It ends what December 8th or 9th. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
go that long. I don't believe it's a pretty quick. It's pretty quick. Anyway, so coming out of the East A, I'm gonna start with the East A.
Okay.
Um, I got to go with the 76ers making the knockout phase. I think that's I don't know. I think that they're going to make it for sure. East B, I got to go with the Bucks. They're struggling. They're struggling right now, but I still think they're gonna do it. I don't think they're gonna get out. The Heat are on the rise though, and they're starting to play better basketball, but I gotta give it to the Bucks. East C Celtics. There's no
Celtics.
team.
Yeah, 100%.
Celtics are scary, bro. My goodness, man. They are. We're gonna talk about some of our surprises in a little bit, but just a little spoiler alert for that. One of mine is Porzingis. Like that was maybe one of the best moves this offseason for a team. That he's shown up. So I gotta go Celtics. And then West A, gotta go with the Lakers.
Lakers, yeah.
I don't think had we lost to the Suns, I would have been like, maybe we don't. There's a slight chance that we don't go 4-0. But now that we've beaten the Suns, I don't think we're going 3-1 in the group stage. I think that I think we're gonna do it. And then West B, I gotta go with the Mavericks. I gotta go with the Mavs.
Over Denver.
I gotta go with them over Denver. I do because Murray's out. I don't know when he's out for the rest of November. Murray's out for the rest of November, and they're a great team without Murray. But I just think that I still think the Mavs have a little bit more in the tank, especially if Murray is out. And then looking at the West C, Timberwolves, because the Timberwolves, last I checked, are third or fourth in the West.
Yeah.
And it's not by accident. Rudy Gobert is playing like Rudy Gobert. I think I'm not gonna go off on a Rudy Gobert rant today. I think that Rudy Gobert, they'll be able, yeah. You know what? We'll meet the Nuggets again in the playoffs, and we'll be the team winning 4-0. But anyways, that's another story. We have a couple months to go for that. No, but Rudy Gobert is one of the most overrated players in my opinion, especially for someone who's earned as many Defensive Player of the Year awards as he has. But he is playing like he has when he's been that level of a player that's been able to earn that award. He's playing that team is off to a hot start. So yes, I'm taking them over the Kings. Yes, I'm taking them over the Warriors. I've got to go with that. And then how many did I just pick? How
Yeah,
many?
you still have one. You have the wild card spot from the East and West.
Oh yeah, so wild card, and this one's tough. That's the one that I'm struggling with, bro. I saved that one because that's the wild card's tough. Um, but I've got to go with, man. I got to go with the Pacers.
Okay.
I've got to go with
That's
the
that's an
Pacers.
interesting choice. Yeah.
I got to go with them. They are one of the best teams offensively in the NBA right now. They're first in offensive rating last time. I mean, they are playing incredibly well. Now, I believe they had a blowout against, what was it, the Clippers? That probably helped them. Was that the team they blew out? Was it the Clippers? We love that over here. That's awesome all day. But I got to go with them. And then for the West, it's tough. It's tricky. It's not easy to have to pick in the West. That's probably the harder one for me to pick. But
Yeah.
I will go with the Nuggets as being that team in the West. I'm not going to disrespect them and say that they're a team that has no shot at making anything at all. I do think that they are going to be. I never said the playoffs. Come on now. I never said the playoffs. We're not talking about the playoffs, but you know, with how they're playing right now, if they keep that up, maybe we are talking playoffs. And then winning it all out of all those teams that I just named, I hate to say this. I really don't want to say this, but I think the Celtics are going to win it all. I think the Celtics are the best team in the NBA right now, top to bottom. And I hate that, bro. I don't want to say that, but I got to go for winning it all right now. Of all the teams, I got to go Celtics. But let's hear your list, bro. Let's hear what you got.
I have a quick question before I move on to my list. If the Celtics had gone past Game 7 in the conference final last year to play Denver, how do you think that game would have gone?
Oh man, I love that. See, that's a good question because I feel like it would have been a way better series than Miami Nuggets, but
Yeah.
I still think the Nuggets would have won. It was just there's everything was falling for that team, and the way they beat the Lakers so effortlessly, that just gave them everything they needed. So no matter who they played, they were going to win. That was just their year. But it would have been, I think it would have been a 7 game series if it was the Celtics Nuggets. I think it would have been a way better series, way closer. So I do think it would have been better, but I think the outcome would have been the same.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think yeah, Jokic would have just out muscled everyone and gone on and like
That's the problem. Who's going to stop Jokic?
exactly. So Amori was just playing at an extremely high level. Eric Gordon was just doing the same thing. Nah, Pope was just also doing the same thing too. Like I remember watching him first off at Lakers, and I was like, okay, but then he's gone to the Nuggets and he's looking like an allow me to say this an all-star level player. Like if we
Hmm.
like nah. Let me just stop there before I commit to say something I shouldn't say. But like he looks really good and
Yeah.
but yeah, so my own picks are simple. Obviously,
What?
is
Read it, bro. Come on.
do you know what? Do you know what? I think
Are you serious, bro? You're
so.
no. He's
No, no,
just
wait.
saying that because Jay's a. He's just saying that because Jay's a Bucks fan. That's the only reason he's saying that, bro. Come on, man.
Celtics,
They're not gonna be the.
Celtics,
Yeah.
Celtics box. I'll give it to to the Celtics just slightly because of the defensive side. Celtics are playing better defensively than the Bucks. Bucks are giving up points like it's like it's for free. Like they're just allowing teams get to the basket. So I think the Celtics had the advantage over the Bucks because of that. The Celtics are more better defensively. Like Porzingis has just brought something in that the Bucks didn't have. Sorry, the Celtics didn't have before. So I think I'll give them that. So 100% I'll take the Celtics over the Bucks. I'm sorry, but like I just have to agree. Like the
At this
Celtics,
point in the
yeah,
season,
like even like if you watch the Bucks play, the Bucks are literally giving points, like literally giving points, like it's come score points. It's like I score, you score type of like they are not stopping the ball. Like that's just how it is right now. So no. Giannis is best player in the NBA and they just no. I'm sorry, no. Uh,
yeah,
no.
we can agree on that. We can agree against that one. 'Cause, I mean, he's great, but as of now, no,
No,
not
yeah.
quite.
No, I'm sorry, no. But what was I? Eastern Conference Group A. Obviously, I'll go with Sixers. Sixers are just playing impressive basketball. Like Maxi is having fun out there, and Babe is living his best life. So I think and they have, I think they, to an extent, they have the depth to go. And I think Nick Nurse is also a really good coach.
Kick King Cal out of here. Take him out of take him. Stop it. Stop him. Take his ability away from commenting. Come on, bro. No, I'm just playing. Come on, man.
Uh,
The Bucks.
yeah,
I'm just playing. No, I like it. We like a little back and forth. That's good. You don't
that's
have to
good.
agree with the facts. It's all good, bro. No, I'm just playing. I will give you this. I would have agreed with you had the Bucks had a better start to the season and had they not given up as much of their defensive depth as they have. But they've given up too much, and it's shown for me to agree with you. So I agree with you. You know what? Facts are facts, but the facts are they gave up a little bit too much, in my personal opinion. And you know what? I will say this: is Giannis the best player in the NBA as a whole within the last couple of seasons, top to bottom? You can probably give it to him. But this season, he's not the best player in the NBA so far. If we're talking,
No.
that's where we got to differentiate that, because I can agree. Last couple of seasons, there's no one as dominant as Giannis, but just this season. And that's why I gotta stand on my point, because I'm not just gonna stand up here and say that for no reason, because I do believe that the Bucks could turn it around, but at this point they've just given up too much.
Yeah, like it's too much. I have to agree that like they're just, yes. After 3 weeks, there's a whole lot to do after 3 weeks. Like look at it, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. The Houston are losing to the Lakers. There's stuff there.
Man, now we're the ones that aren't able to. We just got muted. Yeah, anyone that wants to know, our producer's a Bucks fan, so we kind of have that against us. We have a bunch of. I guess we have a lot of Bucks. I didn't know that, man. I didn't realize we had a lot of. But I guess when it's Lakers Bucks in the finals, we'll know what's going to be going down. But no, again, I can agree that Giannis is the best player last couple of seasons, but if we're going off of just this season so far, I know we're early. So far, I'm not going to give him that title, but we'll agree to disagree because people are making great points and it's all
Yeah,
in good fun. Even though we're out here getting muted, come on now, bro, on our own show. No, I'm just playing. Uh, Adds a little extra to it, but no, I can say maybe at the end of the season we're saying something different. Honestly, it could change. It's early. I will agree with that. I can get on board with you. Giannis is, man, we got a lot of Giannis fans. All right. No bronze sexuals, just Giannis, just lots of Giannis fans. Where are the bronze sexuals at? Come on, bro. I thought we were at least, I posted this on my Lakers Instagram page. I thought we were going to have at least a couple on here. No one's sticking up for the purple and gold. What's going on? No,
that's okay. We'll
we
give
don't
it to
need that
them.
yet.
We'll give it to
We can,
them.
we can handle it ourselves. But no, anyways, 76ers. I
Yeah,
think
Group B, Box obviously, and this that's obvious. Like, I'm sorry, boys, Box, and then Group C, Boston.
we're not even going to pay attention to that comment. Keep going. We could end the show on that. We could end the show on that comment. We're not going to. I could talk about that comment for an hour, but I'm not
Yeah,
going to. Keep going. Keep going. We'll
yeah, and then wild card, I'll go with Miami for the. I'll go with Miami for the wild card from the East, and then from the West, obviously Group A West, Lakers, no doubt about it. I don't even see us losing a game. I'm sorry, but I don't see us losing a game. Group B, Denver, I don't know. I just don't see them losing to the Houston Rockets again. Like when they play, like in the Eastern tournament, I don't see them losing that game. And then Group C, yeah, I have to Timberwolves. Yeah, I just have to agree with that. And I'll say the wild card would be Dallas. Dallas would be the wild card. Um,
man. I guess I'm getting replaced. I'm getting replaced after episode one. It's all good. I understand, guys. It's okay.
uh, but yeah, so I see what was I see Dallas going to the wild as the wild card team, and I'm going to just throw this out there and say, okay, let me not say what I want to say. Let's stop there. I really want to say nah.
But I will say we're gonna address the comment about the Clippers really quick. If they were the best team in LA, they would not have lost 5 games. Is it 5 in a row?
Yeah, 5 in a row. Four we had in.
Or come
Yeah,
on, bro, come on.
yeah, I
We've won
know.
without LeBron. We've won. We're fine. Matter of fact, the player we can't win without is Anthony Davis. When he's out, that is a problem. When LeBron is out, and everyone else shows up, we have a chance. But what I will say is this: agree to disagree. And we have a lot of people that are against the Lakers. We have a Smoke is a Warriors fan. There, so come on now. That's why they're so mad about our Laker picks. It's all good. Not too much to be excited about as a Warriors fan right now. They look pretty mid so far, pretty mid level. But you know what? Maybe they'll turn it around. Probably not. But
They did.
before
They did.
we,
I mean, they did start hot though. I'm sorry, they did start hot. You know, they came on blazing. I think they were like 5-1, and then they have lost like three back to back, like chirping back at Ants, and then Ants dropping 33 on them.
they
So
don't
just
have size. They don't have size.
yeah, it's
I will
still
say I agree that it is early, but that's what the mid-season tournament adds, though. It adds a little more importance early on. So, but I will
exactly.
say, record-wise, I mean, the Lakers weren't even looking like they were going to make the playoffs until what was it, February, March? Like they were like way out of. They were in towards the end, so it doesn't matter till the end, really. But there's still plenty. I mean, there's plenty of things that can happen. We both know that. You know what? I will agree that Golden State has a pretty solid coach. The only thing I will say is we haven't seen him coach his squad that hasn't been led by like Steph Curry. Like a lot of these coaches that look great with certain players when we see them without them, they're not as great. And his season where Kyrie, good lord, where Steph was out,
Oh yeah,
um, they didn't even sniff the play. Like they didn't even sniff the playoffs. They had a really bad. So that's not saying he's a bad coach, but I don't know if he's the best coach in the NBA because there's some coaches that can get it done even without their stars, and I don't think we've seen him do that. That was my wraparound for that whole point. I just feel like he's not. But I will say, Steve, the Mount
Cor-
Rushmore NBA player.
correction.
I'll
Steph
go.
Curry isn't the greatest player of all time. He's the greatest shooter of all time. Not the greatest. Just to drop that there, he's not the greatest player of all time. Greatest
He's not the
shooter,
greatest
yeah.
anything of all time.
No, great. No, we have to give him greatest shooter of all time. Like he's the greatest shooter God created. Like we just have to give him that. So I'll give him that. So that's
Fair
just
enough.
it. That's just it.
Fair
Um.
enough.
Oh my God, I'm done with this Curry comments. Done with this Curry comment.
Yeah, get used to him. Get used to all the Warriors. Hey, you know what? I can't wait for the weeks when we play the Warriors. Let's go. It's going to make it even better.
That'll be a good
But we
one.
have a segment we're going to end our shows with called Top of the Hour 5, where we give for the last like 15-10 minutes, we give a top 5 that's going to be different each week. But before we get into that, we're going to briefly talk about a couple of key NBA injuries and just how they're going to affect the teams. Because there's some, I mean, I will say, we don't have a Gordon Hayward first night doing that really gruesome injury when he was on the Celtics. We don't have any terrible injuries like that so far but we do have some players that are out, and I'm just going to go through a couple. I already said one, Jamal Murray, him being out again. It's just the midseason tournament. I doubt the Nuggets are probably that concerned about that. They probably are looking more towards going back to back, especially after paying Malone like they did and extending his contract. They're looking for that. So I will say that Murray being out, like, can they still win? Yes, but that is a huge detriment to their team. And so I think that's one of the most key injuries we're going to see out here is Murray. And then looking at a team like the Pistons, they have so many key players out on their squad. There are several teams that have a lot of players that are out currently. So there's some key injuries, but then there's also, if we're talking about the Warriors, you know what? We can talk Warriors. Curry is out. Curry
Yeah,
is believed to have a right knee sprain and is undergoing further evaluation, but he's not expected to miss significant time. But that's a team that they're not as great without Curry. Even with Paul George, they're lacking size. That is a small ball driven team. And with a player like Curry out, I don't think they're going to have that same level of emphasis to them. And then the Lakers have been missing some key players. Most important, Vanderbilt. I would say Vando's probably the most
yeah,
important. But good news, he is getting reevaluated for coming back. Vince, it's another big one. Anthony Davis is day to day. LeBron is day to day. You'll see day to day around their names probably the whole season. Get used to seeing day to day. They more than likely will play more than like over half the time. If it's probable day to day, they'll probably play, but you'll see that throughout most of the season. So Lakers are missing some key players, and then obviously the Grizzlies. Adams is out. Derrick Rose is out, unfortunately. Um, not an injury, but they're missing John Morant. That's a huge detriment to their game. Obviously, especially if they're missing some other point guard depth. So
Yeah.
there definitely are some pieces that are missing. What are some players or teams for you, or injuries that you're noticing that might detract teams?
So I'm looking at Pelicans and I'm seeing how theirs is not as theirs is as bad as I didn't imagine it to be this bad. CJ McCollum, just Alvarado, Larry Nance Jr., Halbert Jones, Trey Murphy the third. Like those are really big names when you think of the Pelicans, and for them to be out, I think that's really bad for them. Um, I look at the Suns too. I think Devin Booker being out is detrimental. Damian Lee also out. The Portland Trailblazers, Blazers, you have Malcolm Brogdon out. Robert Williams the third out. You have the um second, third overall pick, Scoot Henderson out. Also, we haven't seen too much of him this season. Um, Simmons also out too. So you have that, and yeah, that's I think when I look at all on the Utah Jazz also you have Walker Kessler out too. I think he's really big for them. But I mean they're still playing decent basketball, but I think him being out also is I think really detrimental to them too in the long run. So I think for me those are my picks, especially the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans and the Portland Trail Blazers, when you look at the people that they have out, I think in the long run they are really detrimental. Like just names are just too important to them right now for them to be out. So yeah.
Since we talked, the injury list has grown. We talked and we're like, it doesn't look that, but it's grown. It's getting bigger, and some teams it's getting a little monumental for. And the Suns, dude, that's been their issue the last couple of seasons, whether it's playoffs, regular season, it's been injuries. And I think the goal, moving away from Chris Paul, moving away from a couple of these players, was that we that caught me. Did we actually do that one before? We that was the NBA player I was telling you about. We that might have been one of the ones we did. We're not gonna do that one today. We might break that one out eventually, but not today. Um, Man, these are catching me off guard. It's good to be back on with these comments. I appreciate them. They're good. But no. So anyways, moving on. We are gonna go in. Oh man, we're gonna go into our final segment of the show. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been awesome. It's good to be back. We plan to bring you guys pretty consistent content, and interact with you guys more, and hopefully grow our show. And we look forward to season 3. Make sure to uh, interact with our page and hit us with a subscribe. We are going to do NBA player but we are not starting up with that. We will do that again. And Manoli will be on eventually, and maybe we'll do a fun special version of that with him when he's back on, whenever he guest stars. But we will bring that back eventually. But our new segment we're going to do weekly is Top of the Hour 5. And this week's top 5, it is in the title. We're going over our pick for top 5 trades that never happened. How this is going to go is we'll go back and forth. I'll say my 5, we'll just go back and forth from there, from 5 to 1. We're going to do this every week. If you guys have a request for a top 5 you want us to do, it could be anything. Top 5 NBA brawls, top 5 trash talkers, top 5 point guards, top 5 Warriors players all time. You tell us what you want and we will do it in a show. Let us know in the comments in any of our lives, or you can hit us up in the comments after the show. But this week's is the top 5 trades that never happened. I'm going to start with my number 5, and I've got to go with the most recent one, the Dame Heat trade that never happened. Dame obviously is now on the Bucks, and that, I will say this, I do think that could work out. I just think they're going to have to build that team a little bit up more, just because of the depth in the East right now. It's no dig on Dame or Giannis. I think they're going to figure it out. But Dame, that was originally supposed to go to the Heat, to the level where, like, it was all the NBA news was. It froze up other trades. It was everything. And then it never happened. And then he ended up in a completely different place in the East that I don't think anyone would have expected. I think that me and Jay might have talked about it one of the last episodes last season. We might have talked about it or joked about it. but I didn't think it was actually going to happen, and it did. What I will say is, I just think that the Heat were being asked to give up what they saw as too
Too
much.
much.
And I
Yeah.
just don't think there was ever a realistic trade. And so there isn't like an actual official trade that was ever in place. There were packages that were just sent back and forth that just kept getting rejected. But my number 5 has to be the most recent one, because I truly think if Dame was on that Heat team and they didn't give up that many pieces, they'd be the best team in the East, or they would at least be right behind the Celtics. So that's my thing, is that's not me saying the Dame trade won't work out and that the Bucks won't become that better team. And currently they are a better team than the Heat overall, I would say. But they're going to have to build that up. So I got to say, for me, it's my number 5 has to be that Dame Heat trade. What about you?
Um, that's very true.
I
That's
fair. I
100%
can agree
true.
with that.
That's 100% true. But my number 5, I'm going to go Paul George to Cleveland 2017. Um, Cleveland were meant to receive Kyrie and Channing Frye, but that never happened. So imagine Paul George had actually gone to Cleveland with LeBron. Whew. Well, I guess we'll never know. But that would be my number 5. That would be my number 5. I looked at it and I'm like, okay,
I don't think
Paul.
LeBron would have ever left. I think LeBron would have
Exactly.
stayed. I don't think we would see. I think that we'd see a whole different Cleveland finish. I think we'd see multiple championships in Cleveland had that happened.
I was like, okay. And Paul George would have actually won a championship, and no one would have been butchering his name the way people disrespectfully do right now. But that I think I'll take that. I'll take that as my number 5. Paul
That's a good.
George to Cleveland.
That's a good
Yeah.
5. No, that's a great 5. Going into my 4 is the Carmelo Anthony to Chicago Bulls 2011 trade that never
Ooh.
happened. Before he went to New York, he was actually in talks to go to Chicago, but there was never a package that could be dealt, much like the Dame situation. But just imagine Carmelo Anthony, Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose. I mean, that team, realistically, they would have given up too much. They would have probably given up Noah or given up, and that's probably why it didn't happen. That they probably couldn't decide. It's the same situation with this most recent one. But imagine Carmelo teaming up with just Derrick Rose, even if it's just one or two, even if it's just Rose's healthy seasons in Chicago, that might have been enough for Derrick Rose to not only be the youngest MVP, but also an NBA champion. So my number 4 has to be the Carmelo Anthony one that didn't happen. And then we all know what happened. He ended up in New York. That's my number 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. If if Carmelo had gone anywhere else than the Knicks, anywhere else, he would have definitely won a championship. If he could have literally joined Chris Bosh and LeBron up at Cleveland, and he could have actually won a championship. But it's all good. It's all good. For my number 4, Charles Barkley to Los Angeles to LA, 1992. Ooh, from the Sixers, from 76ers, I think that's my number 4. I think if Charles Barkley had gone to LA at that point in time, they could have he could have won a championship, um and at least that would have made him much more greater than he is right now, because obviously he's still great, but there's still that knack of no championship to his name. And in 1992, we all know that was the period of, when the Bulls were still getting along, so him playing with Magic and, the gang, they could have definitely won one before, the Bulls came up and took over. But yeah, I think I'll take that as my number 4, Charles Barkley to LA.
Yeah.
Almost, almost.
No, that's a good one, but that's a great one. I almost put that. That was right outside my top 5. I was almost on my list because that we would have probably we might not have seen Kobe we might have seen a team that didn't need we might have seen a team that looked completely different and had won the same amount of championships but with different players had we seen Barkley on that team. So what could have been, but I think we still did pretty good with who we got. But man, that is something to think about for sure. Number 3, Scottie Pippen to the Seattle Supersonics for Sean Kemp in 1994. A lot of people are saying that had this happened, Jordan would have not came back to the Bulls. Would he have came back to basketball? Potentially, but people are saying he would have not came back to the Bulls had Pippen left the team within that time range. It never went through, but what I will say is this would have been this would have shaken up the NBA so much at that time, especially with Jordan leaving and it changing as much as it already had. Had we seen him change and make that shift, that would have been insane. So it because that's got to be my number three because again, what could have been? I think we would have seen Pippen lead Seattle to at least a conference title and maybe a championship. So that's my three.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I think that's also my number three. Looking at the list, I think Jordan would have been able to win his six championships if Scotland had left. Um, I think if that trade had gone through, we won't be talking Jordan as the other people's goods, not my goods, but like other people's goods. So I think that for me. I'll also take that as my number three. So Jordan to Sonic. We all know what how good the Sonics were at a point. So I think that would have completely changed. They would have been able to get over that hump because there was just this hump they couldn't get over. So being able to get over that hump, I think Scotty would have definitely been there and done that for them. So
Absolutely, without a doubt. Going into our top two, my number two is Tracy McGrady to Philadelphia in 1999. The 76ers would have received Grady and a first round pick, and the Raptors would have received Larry Hughes and potentially a couple of picks. For me, if you match Tracy McGrady up and Allen Iverson, I don't know if the Lakers win that championship. You still have Shaq, but AI was able to do a lot. He just needed that punch. That he was the one, he needed the two. Tracy McGrady would have been the two. And I'm not going to say that the 76ers would have beat the Lakers for sure, but I think it would have been a series. I think it would have been a different series. So that's a what if, because even if, let's say they didn't beat them that season, maybe they add a piece than that. I just think that that would have been a different dynasty, a different situation in Philly. You know what? They wouldn't have had to trust the process. They would have had it a lot sooner because I truly think McGrady and AI would have built something in Philly. So that's my number two. What if?
definitely, definitely. I think also that's also I think our top three kind of rank the same way. I think if he had gone to Philly, if only he had would have looked at Philly as like a champion. Like they would, and think that's the thing we knock off Allen Iverson for. He necessarily wasn't able to get over the hump, and I'm not knocking it off him because if he had someone to support him, like the Jordans, the LeBrons, the Shaq, they all had someone to help them carry that burden over the hump. So if Trace McGrady, or I think they would have been so good together. Like, oh my god, that would have been a really, really good combination, 100%. So I agree with that as number two, 100%.
No, yeah, I think we have the same number one. I think we can, and for the record, this trade would have put Kobe. I'm just gonna throw his name up there. It's not Kobe being traded, but this would have put Kobe in the six rings goat talk just because he would have won six. It wouldn't have been two three-peats, but this trade was in 2011 that would have sent Chris Paul to LA. Hornets would have received Kevin Martin, Luis Scola, Lamar Odom, Gordon Dragic, and a first round pick, and the Rockets would have received Pau Gasol. Now, yes, Pau Gasol, champion, the reason we won those two, but he was not that player anymore, and the injuries were starting to hit. So it wouldn't have been the end of the world to send him and do this like this. Chris Paul and Kobe, that would have been a title. That would have been a title. I don't care what anybody says because the pieces would have been there. Phil Jackson was there. We would have had everything in place. That's my number one. And go off in the comments. Anybody say what you want, but I'm standing on that. And let's hear it, bro. Let's hear it. I think we're on the same page. But let me
Yeah,
hear
and
it.
I think Chris Paul would have had like two championships right now. Like, oh my god,
Agreed. I yes. Thank you.
oh
Now
my
you are speaking
god.
facts. You are finally. You are. I can agree with this one. But no, that is true. I will say it was
If
sabotage.
Chris Paul and Kobe, like it's one of those what ifs. You're like, why didn't this stuff happen? Like it should have taken the league to a different level. Like Chris Chris Paul and Kobe, we're talking about a floor general, and you're talking about someone that can make buckets, like take shots from anywhere on the court. Like it should have taken the league. Like let's even leave like the basketball standpoint. it should have taken the league promotionally to a different level. Like, nah. But yeah, 100%. That's also my number one. Chris Paul. And I looking at it, I think that was a window for Chris Paul to win his championship. Okay, well, obviously with the Suns back in 2021, but like that could have been his first championship to like, because all he needs, like, don't get me wrong, he's still a future Hall of Famer, but like just that championship to cement.
That would have put him as one of the top point guards of all time
Yeah.
with his resume and that and winning with Kobe and possibly two. That would have
Oh,
been everything. So we can agree. And King Cal, thank you for the comment, agreeing that it was all David Stern's fault and the NBA's fault, because we can agree on that. Put it up again. Thank you. Throw that up again. And also thank you guys so much for keeping the comments alive. This was so much fun. We love the back and forth. It's a lot of fun. Apparently, we have a lot of Bucks fans and Giannis fans in the chat this year, so that we'll keep that in mind. But no, as always, it is a great time. And we will you may see Manoli from time to time. You might see some other guest stars, some interviews. We're gonna do a few different things potentially this season, and we're looking forward to it. But this is not the only place that you can find either of us. I'll let you go first. Where else? I know we talked about it at first, but where else can we find you, bro?
100%. I said if you're a big soccer lover, you know, I'm all about soccer. That's my number one passion. I play it, I watch it, I, you know, video games, all that good stuff. So you can find me, Mind on Fans podcast, on all platforms where you get your podcast from, including YouTube. My host Spy, we talk about the good stuff, the Premier League. If you love the Premier League, we're all about that. So you can definitely find me there. We have our Instagram, go mess with it. Also Facebook, you can find us there. Anywhere you find us there. So if you love soccer, come check us out. You find me there.
Absolutely, bro. And then for me, you guys will know from last year, we got the same things going on. The Connor and Heffernan show. We have a new episode coming out this weekend, talking all things sports. We've got talking football, basketball, boxing, going all over the place this weekend. Check us out on the Connor and Heffernan show YouTube or Spotify. And then Purple and Gold Zone, for all my Lakers fans, a new episode is dropping tomorrow. Spoiler alert: the top. I do some lists on there, and tomorrow's list is the top 10 best Lakers role players of all time. And we're going to go over some other things as well. So make sure to check that out at Purple and Gold Zone on YouTube and Spotify. Um,
Just before I leave, speaking of that, was Rondo a role player for the championship?
oh yeah. Well,
He was a
he's
role
one of the
player.
reasons we won. Just gonna say that right now. He's
100%.
one of the
Yeah.
reasons. He's one of the reasons we won. So in the bubble for sure. I mean, without a doubt. So yeah, maybe you'll see him on there. But there'll be some great players. But that'll do it for us today. We will be back again, potentially probably next week. But check us out, and thank you guys so much. As always, it has been great. Thank you guys.
Have an amazing week, guys.